Fundamental algorithm for counting. There are 6 steps to be followed. The first step is the problem statement. The second step is algorithm development. Third, algorithm description. Fourth, Pascal implementation. Fifth, notes on the design. And sixth is the application that are being using the algorithm counting. The first one is problem statement. Here the problem statement is given as there are n number of students present in a class. So we have to find the students who have passed on the condition that the mark will be ranging from 0 to 100, and the students who have awarded or graded above or equal to 50 will be passed. The condition can be very clearly explained in the problem statement that students who are scoring above 50, that is ranging from 50 to 100, will be passed, and the student who are below 50 are being failed. So this is the clear problem statement mentioned above. Step 2 is the algorithm development. Algorithm development can be explained with an example, with the support of an example. So we are taking a set of marks, considering this as our mark. So here we will be grading the students who have got above 50. So here n stands for the number of the mark which we are going to grade. So the total n value is 7. That is, the total list value of the set is 7. So what we are supposed to do here is we are supposed to check a condition whether the list values are greater than or equal to 50. So when we are checking this criteria, we have to update the count value simultaneously. So here is the detailed explanation that this is the array that which we had taken in the example. So here we are having previous count and current count as pointer. So initially we are going to initialize the previous count has 0 and current count has 0. Taking the condition, we will check each one. First one is 55. 55 is greater than or equal to 50. Since this is true criteria, we are going to give 1 to the current count. So current count will be 1. We have initialized 0 to previous count, so it will be the 0 initialized to the previous count. The second condition will be checked, that is, the previous condition will be carried on. So previous count 1 will be carried on from the current count, and the second condition will be checked whether 42 is greater than or equal to 50. Since it is false, we will not increment the current count. The current count will remain the same 1. The same way we will be checking for each one, that is 77 is greater than or equal to 50. Since this condition is true, here we will be carrying the previous count from the previous current count, and the current count will be incremented since previous count is 1 and the current condition is true. So 1 plus 1 will result in 2. The same way we will check for the fourth condition, that is 63 is greater than equal to 50. It is true again. So the current count is 2 previously. We will take that previous count and add plus 1 to it. So our current count will be remaining as 3. We'll be checking the next condition, 29 is greater than or equal to 50. It is false. So our previous count will be 3 and our current count will not be incremented. It will also remain 3. The next value, 57 as well as 89, will be compared. So both are greater than 50. So the incrementation value will be done. The previous current count will be carried to the previous count of the next value. So this way we will find out the current value. So finally our current count will remain as 5. That means the number of students passed, which will be equal to 5. Based on this example, we will find out the current count, that is current count which will be equal to previous count plus 1. As we had solved the example, it is very clear our previous count will be based on the current count, and current count, to find out it, we need to have the previous count plus 1. So here it is very clear that 0 plus 1 which will result in 1, that is the previous count is 0 plus 1 is incrementation which will give our current count. So we also have to update that previous count which will be always equal to the current count, that is the previous current count, only that will be carried to it. So these are the two important forms which we need to remember. Here the number of code lines are 2, so we can reduce it up to 1. So current count which can be equal to current count plus 1. So current count of first one is nothing but the new value which will be updated once the calculation for the old current count will be done. So old current count which will be plus incremented, so the new current count will be updated. Instead of using this two line, we can also replace it with this new one. The next one is algorithm description. The description has 4 steps. The first one is prompting for the input. So we know that we need to have a set of array mark to be processed. So it can be taken from the user through a console application. So once that is being collected, we are supposed to process it according to the condition. Before that, we are supposed to initialize our previous count and current count to 0. So the count is the most important thing which we are working on. Next is we will check our while loop condition. Until a while loop goes false, we will be checking the condition and we will repeat the loop again. First one, it will read the mark. The next, it will check with the criteria that whether it is greater than or equal to 50. If it is true, the count will be incremented and the loop will be repeating. Once it is false, it will print the total number of passes. This is how the simple algorithm description is based on the algorithm development.